sponsored by Carlsberg.
Most treasured of trophies, the FA Cup.
Wembley is the prize tonight, and a semi-final tie against Chelsea. And as we close in on the home of English football, this season's competition will be remembered as the Cup of Dreams and Surprises.
Is this two? It is!
Welcome to the FA Cup, anyone who's unsure of what this trophy's all about. Here's Wallace. Wallace is right through, and he's done it right at the death. Yeovil Town.
And I'll remember the strength that you gave me. Now that I'm standing on my own, I'll remember the way that you saved me. I'll remember.
And we're just up the road from Wembley tonight at Kenilworth Road. Luton Town are the last survivors from outside the top flight. Can they spring another surprise tonight as they go in against West Ham United? That's our live football, the quarter-final replay between Luton and West Ham. And after what they did to Newcastle United, there's a real belief in the ground that Luton can take another big scalp. Wembley, of course, as the prize. And it's to the finish, of course, tonight, even if that means extra time and penalties. So around about 10:30 at the latest, Chelsea will know who their semi-final opponents are. Also tonight, we've all the goals and incidents from Highbury last night. Arsenal 2, Manchester United 2. But this is how it finished, in uproar, as Eric Cantona was sent off for the second time in 2 games for Manchester United. One result from a game already played today, that's the friendly international between the Republic of Ireland and Russia. It finished goalless. Also playing tonight, of course, Scotland and Northern Ireland, and we'll keep you right up to date with all the evening's football as we go on. Our guests tonight, the Coventry striker, Mick Harford, who lives in and loves Luton Town. And we also have West Ham's Clive Allen with us. And Clive's just come from that West Ham dressing room. What's the feeling over there, Clive?
Well, obviously a little bit apprehensive. Such a big game and a big prize to come. But obviously a bit concerned about the pitch. Very, very heavy. Didn't think it would be as it is. But obviously we've got to win. Well,
as you can see, they are still watering it out there. And they have been for a good while. And now they seem to have a bit of a problem.
And it seems that the puddles obviously haven't gone away. I believe they have been putting water on it. It's very, very heavy.
So what can we expect tonight, Mick Harford? Where's your money?
My money will be with Luton again, obviously. I mean, you said earlier it'd be a surprise if Luton were to get through, because in a lot of people's eyes, I don't think it will be a surprise. Over the last 2 cup performances, I thought they performed very well. And if they were to go through this evening, I don't think it would be a major surprise to anyone.
Well, as I said, you still live here. What is the feeling around the town? Are people beginning to think about the prospect of Wembley?
Well, it's not very often a small club like Luton gets to Wembley. And with the semi-finals being changed around to Wembley, it's a big bonus for everyone in the town. You know, all the businesses start producing a lot more, and the people in the town get a lot happier. But there's a good opportunity for Luton, and I just hope to take it.
Well, we of course know 3 of the semi-finalists, and this is how they secured their places at Wembley.
Giggs corner, tremendous noise at Old Trafford, trying to get behind them, and a Hughes effort kept out, but not the second follow-up effort, and Mark Hughes has given United a super start to the second half. McCleary heads it forward, and Pallister does well. A clearance which Cantona knocks on into the path of Andrei Kanchelskis, goes on his own and scores United seconds. Andrei Kanchelskis wheels away in delight, and that might be the goal that has killed off Charlton's FA Cup dream. Good forwards was latched onto by Steve Brown, but then loses out to Paul Ince. And Irwin can hoist that forward. Cantona brings it down. Giggs and the through ball, and Kanchelskis is away, and the chance for United to go 3 up. He's rounded the keeper. It's so easy. Now with Pardew. Robson. He'll take on Irwin, and he's got past him, and the cross is there for a free header for Cole Eben. And they pull the goal back.
Pointed. Oh, Patterson's mistake. Beckford is in. Beckford has scored. 7 minutes to go.
Craig Burley might fall for Dennis Wise here, and Shirtliff gets it away, only to Peacock. Hoddle, Wise, and Burley, and Peacock, and yes, that'll do for Chelsea!
Number 4, Oldham Athletic. Number 2 will play Manchester United. Number 3, Chelsea. This is number 4. No, it's number 1. It's number 1. It's West Ham United or Luton Town.
So it's Manchester United, Oldham and Chelsea. Who will join them in the semi-finals, Luton or West Ham? We've got the replay tonight live here on Sky Sports. We're with Mick Harford and Clive Allen. And, well, it's got to finish tonight, one way or the other, extra time or penalties. Has the pendulum swung a little bit, Clive, do you think, after the first match?
Maybe people would think that obviously it's now in Luton's favour, but I know our lads were very disappointed with the way we played. We didn't really do ourselves justice. I think a little bit of credit's got to go to Luton for the way they performed and the way they stopped us playing, really.
Of course, on the day it had been announced that the semi-finals would be played at Wembley, and did that help or hinder? Was that in the back of the minds and make people a little bit anxious, perhaps?
Yeah, I think they were a little bit anxious. I think it would have been nice had the draw been made after the game, maybe on the Monday night after the game. That would have helped both sides, and it maybe would have eased the pressure a little on the players.
Are you a Wembley semi-finalist fan or not?
I don't see that there should be any reason why not. I think the opportunity to go there, however it may come about, is very special, and the opportunity should be there now, I think, after what's happened over the last couple of years.
Nearly came about for Luton in the second half, Mick, in this one, didn't it?
Yeah, I thought they played very well second half and controlled the game. David Priest had a tremendous game. And I did speak to David the other day, and he was saying, I mean, one of the factors why it wasn't a good game, there was an intense atmosphere down there. There was a lot of noise. Probably the viewers didn't realise how intense and how noisy it was, and he said it did affect the lads.
And it'll be like that again tonight here at Kenilworth Road as Luton and West Ham United go into action to finish this quarter-final. They're still watering that pitch. Look at that. When we come back, we'll check out the team news. Live FA Cup football tonight on Sky Sports. The quarter-final replay between Luton Town and West Ham United from Kenilworth Road. And as we've said, having sorted Newcastle out, Luton fancy their chances tonight. The head-to-head FA Cup meetings, they've played 7. Luton Town have won 2, West Ham have won 2, and there have been 3 draws. But here at Kenilworth Road, West Ham have never won. Luton have lost 1 of their previous 21 ties here. So there's a lot of facts and figures steeped against West Ham. And still they water that pitch. And cameramen, it seems. It's a nice little exchange. We kick off at 7:45. Nick Collins has got all the team news already. Nick, good evening.
Richard, hello. Well, West Ham make just one change from the side that drew 0-0 with Luton 9 days ago in their first meeting in the Cup. Peter Butler's restored to the midfield. But what could be more significant for West Ham is the choice of substitutes, because Tony Gale has been nominated as a substitute just literally a few minutes ago. We think there may be a fitness problem about Alvin Martin. Now, he's going to start the game, but we saw him in deep conversation with the club physio and Billy Bonds just a few minutes before the start of the game. So you never know. We might have to. We might see Tony Gale come on at some stage. The other West Ham substitute, Steve Jones. I was talking to his father actually outside the ground, and he's come up from East London on the off chance that he might see his son in action, and he's on the bench, so you never know. He may well do. Luton, well, it's good news for them because Trevor Peake, their experienced campaigner and a former cup winner with Coventry back in '87, he's the club captain. He's back after missing several matches with a hamstring injury. That'll be a real boost for them. Jurgen Sommer, their American goalkeeper, is back again after a one-match suspension, and also returning to the side who missed the 1-1 draw with Birmingham, Kerry Hughes and Kerry Dixon. So Luton will be virtually at full strength. And on the bench, they've got John Hartson and Tony Thorpe, 2 youngsters who both scored important goals in this cup run. So Luton obviously set fair from a team news point of view. Richard.
Thank you, Nick. So Luton look like this: Summer, Linton, Peake, Dreyer, James, Telfer, Priest, Harper, Hughes, Oakes and Dixon. Hartson, Thorpe and Pedersen on the bench. Hartson and Thorpe, of course, both scored those important cup goals against Newcastle United. West Ham have David Burrows back, as we've heard. There is a bit of a doubt about Alvin Martin, but he starts. It's McCluskey, Breaker, Martin, Potts, Burrows, Marsh, Butler, Bishop, Martin Allen, Morley and Chapman. Tony Gale amongst the substitutes, as Nick said. So, I mean, is it a serious problem, the injury with Alvin, Clive?
Alvin took a whack on the hip actually on Saturday, and he's had a sort of adverse reaction over the last couple of days. He felt it's going to be all right for him to start this evening, but he's not 100% happy with it, so obviously his cover, Tony Gale's on the bench. And
Luton, Mick, virtually full strength, as Nick said. That is a terrific bonus for them, isn't it?
Yeah, great bonus for Luton, especially with Trevor Peake coming back. You know, he's a leader out there. He's done it all before. He's won the cup with Coventry. You know, I mean, it's tremendous to have him out there, and you know, I mean, he's a leader, and he's a leader of the men.
Before the first game, Clive, Andy Gray was talking to both Harry Redknapp and David Pleat. They both said if Ian Bishop plays tonight, West Ham have got a real chance. When he's in form, they are. Is that very much the case?
Yes, that's right. I think you know, Ian's been in the side now and he's been playing very well, and obviously his passing ability is second to none, and when he's on his game, he's what makes West Ham tick.
He appeared to lose his way a little bit last season, but Harry Redknapp has got a hold of him and got him going again, hasn't he?
Yeah, that's right. Harry knew him from Bournemouth, but as we saw in the first game, he just never really made the telling passes that we know he's capable of.
And that's what you'll be looking for him to do tonight on a very wet pitch now. Yes,
it's very, very heavy, and I think you know, that at times doesn't suit the passing teams. I think David's idea was it was nice and slippery so that the ball will ping around, but I think they've got the calculations a little bit wrong.
But he's a cunning old fox, you know. Maybe he's put a lot of water on there to upset West Ham United. You never know with him, do you?
No, that's right. Obviously, knowing David very well, there is a motive for what he's doing, but I'm not sure whether it's going to work.
All right. Luton and West Ham United tonight. West Ham we know plenty about, of course. Luton are putting themselves back on the map.
Now, when you think of what's famous about Luton, it's impossible to avoid thoughts of Lorraine Chase and Luton Airport. But the town is also renowned for its car production. The giant Vauxhall plant dominates the skyline. And these days, there's a third reason for coming to Luton, the football club. Never mind the road to Wembley, the road to Luton is steep enough, as Newcastle United have already discovered.
It's all down to Scott Oakes for Luton. Hooper keeps it out. Linton is roaring in. Oh, Oakes! 2-0!
Under the enthusiastic David Pleat, Luton are beginning to make giant strides, and they've given this part of Bedfordshire a real lift. Now, Vauxhall can't confirm whether the team's cup exploits have actually increased production on the assembly line, but it can't have done any harm, though the mood in the town is one of nervousness.
I think there's a tenseness, so I'm told, and the people are uncertain. They can't quite understand why we should be in the last 5 of, you know, the FA Cup or near the semi-finals of an FA Cup. They're not sure, because here things take off slowly.
Taking off is one thing, landing's another, and West Ham will surely hope for a smoother ride tonight than the passengers aboard this 757, though to be fair to the pilot, there was a strong headwind. Well, one man hoping to jet off to the United States for the World Cup this summer is the Luton goalkeeper Jurgen Sommer. The New Yorker returns to action tonight after a one-match suspension. He distinguished himself in the first game in more ways than one, perhaps lucky to survive this challenge with Trevor Morley. But Sommer stayed on to produce a mature performance which will have done his World Cup chances with America no harm at all.
Oh, that would have gone in, but for the goalkeeper.
No, it can only enhance my opportunity and chance of being in the squad with the experience of playing in the FA Cup and, you know, then going on to Wembley, depending how we do Wednesday evening. It's a great opportunity, and the World Cup coaches and the organization in the United States will be watching it. And it's a great opportunity for me to show that I can handle the pressure and, you know, the strength of play. So I hope to use that as a stepping stone to get to the World Cup.
And with former FA Cup winner Trevor Pigg back in training this week, there's even a chance Luton could be back to full strength for a game that the players just can't wait for.
Oh, it's been a great cup run for us personally. It's an experience that I can't even put the words for myself, coming from America to be able to play in the FA Cup and in the quarterfinals, now the chance in the semi-finals, and to go on to Wembley. It's an amazing experience for anyone, any footballer at any level. The most experienced players like Trevor Peake and David Priest are, you know, just as enthusiastic as the younger players. So it's a great all-around experience for all the players, and I think we're going to make the most of it Wednesday night.
Pleat, though, being the astute tactician that he is, has been making sure his players don't get carried away.
If they're not mentally and physically right when they go over the white line, there's a good chance they won't do well. So they're not thinking about statistics, or they're not thinking about tradition. It's them and us on the day. It's not dog eat dog, but what it is, it's the right to earn a semi-final, and you have to play well and you have to compete well.
Luton reaching Wembley is no flight of fancy then. Indeed, with Vauxhalls everywhere you look, their cup run could perhaps be best described as a case of planes, games and automobiles.
And he rather overdid it in that training session, David Pleat. He injured his back there, and he's really struggling tonight, I can tell you. So who's going to win, Luton or West Ham? Well, this is what they think outside.
Well, I think we're going to win this one. I mean, we didn't play bad last time, 0-0, but I think this time, I think we're going to beat them this time. I think, you know, with Kerry Dixon back today, I think it's going to make a lot of difference.
I think we'll beat them. We'll have no problem at all after the first leg. The way West Ham played, they didn't do enough. I don't think they're going to do enough tonight. I think we're going to do the job.
I think the weather's going to play a big part tonight. Obviously, it's very, very windy, very blustery, so you have to keep it on the ground. But I think West Ham and Luton both play football along the ground, so it should be a good game. We shouldn't affect it too much.
I think all they've got to do tonight is just not get too carried away with the atmosphere, play good football, control it like they did against Man United, and we'll win easy.
Well, it's going to be an improvement on the last one. It was a bit bit drab, but looking for a better performance from West Ham tonight. Get forward more, pass the ball better than they did on the last time. Hopefully go on to a good victory in the semi-final against Chelsea.
The wind is going to be a problem because they say it's going to be really windy, but we think it's actually going to be a good game, and obviously we're going to win. Morley probably getting the winner for us as well.
She's right, it is a bit blowy, it's a bit cold out there as well. Wet within the confines of the pitch. Whose night is it? Luton Town's or West Ham United's? Coming next, we've got the story so far, and a few moments ago we had a word with the Luton manager David Pleat and got his last thoughts.
Really hoping that the players can once again project themselves well, give a good account of themselves, and having come this far, I have to tell you, we are desperate to win.
To the finish at Kenilworth Road tonight, a great deal of expectation on the terraces for both Luton and West Ham supporters. We've made the trip round the M25 from East London, up the M1, Wembley of course, just down the road. And that's the prize tonight, a semi-final place against Chelsea. Who's going to take it, Luton or West Ham? Bookies fancy Lee Chapman to get the opening goal. He's got some vital goals too along the way for West Ham this season. Morley 7-1, Oakes of Luton 8-1, along with Kerry Dixon, who would quite like a semi-final tie against Chelsea. And to take that semi-final place, well, West Ham are odds on. Luton Town 11-10. Manchester United are odds on to win the FA Cup. Chelsea second favourites, 8-1 Oldham, 10-1 West Ham, and 14-1 Luton, the outsiders. And before we go any further, let's have a look at how these two teams got to this stage. Luton started out against Southend. They had to wait 10 days to play the tie because of a waterlogged pitch. When they finally did play, Paul Telfer finished off an impressive move to give the Hatters a 1-0 win. Kevin Keegan was in the crowd that night. Luton's fourth-round opponents were Newcastle, and David Pleat was worried.
I don't know what we've got to do, but we've got to nominate 14 players for the game, and I hope the 14 nominated players realise how privileged they should be to be on the part with what I call the boldest side in this season's Premiership. They're the side that have taken the game back to the supporters, in my opinion, played with no fear at all, and I'm delighted to have done so well, but we would love to do well there ourselves.
West Ham's third-round opponents were Watford. They went into the lead when Gary Porter scored from the penalty spot. But West Ham fought back and Martin Allen made it 1-1. Mike Marsh got the winner. This is so far his only goal for the club since the move from Liverpool. Luton's trip to St James's Park for their fourth-round tie went better than David Pleat could have imagined. Tony Thorpe gave them the lead. But Peter Beardsley saved the Magpies with a late penalty to earn a replay. So a trip to Kenilworth Road for the Toon Army. Strong favourites to go through to the fifth round, but this was going to be Luton's night.
Hartson, Hooper comes, Hartson's round and the goal is there and he's taken it splendidly. It's all down to Scott Oakes for Luton. Hooper keeps it out, Linton is roaring in. Oh, Oakes! 2-0!
A wonderful night for the First Division side who dumped out one of the favourites. David Pleat was delighted.
We've done the job. The team were disciplined. The Keegan was marvellously generous at the end of the game. He said he thought we deserved it. And I do believe over the two games, I think we've done the business.
West Ham faced another difficult tie, this time at Meadow Lane against Notts County. When Gary Lund put County into the lead, there must have been some anxious Hammers fans. But 3 minutes later, Steve Jones saved West Ham's blushers and earned them a replay. There wasn't much to separate the teams at Upton Park. It was deep into extra time when Lee Chapman scored the only goal of the game. Chapman silencing the Terrace Boo Boys, who had been jeering his every touch. Cardiff were Luton's 5th round opponents. Scott Oakes gave the Hatters the lead. Cardiff equalised in the second half through Phil Stant. David Priest had the final say, coolly putting Luton into the 6th round. West Ham's 5th round opponents were the only non-league side left in the competition, Kidderminster Harriers. They held out well into the second half, but a mistake by Kevin Rose in the Kidderminster goal allowed Chapman to put the Hammers into the quarter-finals. It had been a good effort by the non-league side. And so to the quarter-finals. By the Monday night, Luton were the only First Division team left in the Cup. As ever, there was a really special atmosphere under the lights at Upton Park.
Burrows. Oh, Chapman! And now Marsh. It's thudded back into play off Summers' left-hand post. Telford glances it on. And it's off the line by Marsh.
Can Luton make it to Wembley, or is this going to be West Ham's night? It's the Fox against the old warhorse, Pleat against Bonds. Luton chairman, incidentally, David Kohler, has just been in and wanted me to say hello to his mum, Rosa, who's watching up in Blackpool from behind a cushion, such is the tension. So, Mick Harford, Clive Allen, who's going to win tonight, Mick, and how? 90 minutes, extra time? Penalties?
Personally, I think West Ham were disappointed on their performance down at Upton Park. I think they'll come out a lot more positive, but I just think Luton will have a bit too much for them. I don't think West Ham have got the pace up front to actually get behind the Luton defence, and vice versa. On the other hand, I think Luton have got a lot of pace in good areas, and I think they could just get behind them. I think Luton will win by the odd goal, and I think Paul Telford will score it.
Over 90 or extra time?
I think it'll be over extra time.
So how do West Ham win it tonight, Clive?
Well, I think the lads are quietly confident. Obviously, they realised how poorly they played in the first game, and they're quietly optimistic they can come here and win tonight. And I would hope it'd be done in the 90 minutes.
Have they been practising penalties?
No, haven't thought about them.
Right, match commentators tonight, Andy Gray and Martin Tyler.
Hello, Richard. Hello again, everyone. Well, Andy and I have been down below, checking out the mood of the two camps, and there's quite a difference, Andy, between the way Luton seem to be feeling before the game and the way West Ham have arrived here.
Well, if we were to say one team looked very calm, very composed, very confident, another looks very nervy, very edgy, and we were to ask people to guess which one, a lot of people may plump for West Ham to be the calm and composed one. We have to say they aren't. David Pleat, this is the 3rd time we've been with David in his FA Cup run, spoke to him before the game, everyone, and he was very nervy previous to it. Today, he's very calm, very composed. I hope that's not a sign that it's not going to go well for him. But Billy Bonds, on the other hand, I think is looking very nervy about this game. I think it just proves what's at stake, Martin.
Right, well, let's have a look at the teams and confirm all the news for you. A rare luxury for Luton. David Pleat able to put out the very side he wanted for this 6th round replay. His American goalkeeper, Jurgen Sommer, is available again after suspension. Trevor Peake, the captain and an FA Cup winner, of course, with Coventry, is back to discipline the defence. Kerry Hughes and Kerry Dixon both missed the match here on Saturday against Birmingham with minor strains that have cleared up. So overall, just the one alteration from the lineup that did Luton proud at Upton Park, the 37-year-old Peake in place of David Green, who was out of contention anyway with 10 stitches in a head wound.
One change in personnel, but I think no change in formation, Martin. I think it'll be important tonight that this back line here, they don't get pushed back. They don't get pushed onto the edge of their own 18-yard box, because that will suit West Ham, who will look for Chapman, people like that, and knock it into. I expect these people all to push up. What else have they got? Scott Oakes there. Could well prove to be a thorn on their side. He'll drop off, like we see there, into that midfield area, and hopefully pick up the ball and go at them. We've seen already in the clips tonight how he loves to run from deep down the inside left and inside right channels. They will use Dixon to try and draw the West Ham back four out to leave space in behind. So that's something to watch for.
West Ham waited until after a training session this morning before naming this side. Two men who have FA Cup winners' medals in their collections able to participate. Alvin Martin, though, needed an injection in this hip injury. And David Burrows is back. He served a one-match ban on Saturday. But it's in midfield where Billy Bonds is looking for improvement. Peter Butler came back on Saturday after an absence of almost 10 weeks with knee trouble. He keeps his place tonight. But Martin Allen, who made way for Butler against Newcastle, is reinstated in place of Matty Holmes.
Well, I said there was no change in David Pleat's formation, but I do expect a change in Billy Bonds's. I think he's going to go for the five-man midfield. He's going to leave Chapman up front on his own, and then from there hope to get Morley, Martin Allen, Butler and Martian up in line with him. One thing that worries me about that team is lack of genuine pace, Martin. It'll be up to the back four. They defend deep, and I don't think they'll want to be drawn out to allow space for Oak. So I think the back four will defend deep. The one other thing from that graph we can see there, perhaps Martin Allen may be employed on the right-hand side, which will allow Marsh to come infield, which we know he does naturally anyway from that right-hand side. But I definitely think they'll go with five along the midfield to hope to stop Luton passing the ball.
So the signs are that the Premiership club have paid a really respectful note to Luton Town and their particular skills. Luton are a thoughtful footballing side, a combination of very promising players and some who were put out to grass by other clubs, but have found an extra lease of life here under David Pleat. The Hatters. And those fans do know the way to Wembley. The club was there 4 times in just over a year in various competitions in the late 80s. The capacity here is pretty small, just over 13,000. And I think the fans coming in will be surprised at the state of the pitch. There's no doubt that David Pleat wanted to deaden some of the life that's rather spoiled his team's performance here on Saturday when they were held 1-1 by Birmingham.
Well, he's done that all right, Martin, hasn't he?
Well, going back to Saturday, Brian Hill, the refereed the match between Swindon and Manchester United. One highly publicised incident showed a red card to a famous Frenchman. He was the referee in the first meeting between these two clubs tonight, of course. Different linesmen, Mick Fletcher on the left and Alan Streets. Well, the crowd champing at the bit, waiting for their first sight of the players. It's all a bit tight down in those corridors. The West Ham dressing room just round the corner as we look through that door. And further down the corridor, the dressing room from which Trevor Peake has led the Luton Town players. So here we go. It is a fight to the finish tonight in this 4th FA Cup quarter-final. West Ham United wanting to complete a semi-final set of Premiership clubs. But listen to the noise for Luton Town, 18th in the Ensley League Division 1, but looking to find the form which knocked out Newcastle United here. A Wembley semi-final awaits for the winners. The drama unfolds live. It's after the break.
And we're ready to go. Let's join Andy Gray and Martin Tyler.
Luton Town worked very hard in East London to earn this replay. Billy Bonds felt that some of his players froze in the first match, that they couldn't handle being such strong favourites. Well, favourites they still are tonight, but not quite so well fancied. The gusty wind delaying the kick-off for a few seconds. Luton are underway in their white shirts against the famous claret and blue of West Ham United. Hughes, Priest.
First thing I can tell you about West Ham, they have gone with Mike Marsh infield, Martin, and about an inside left position. So they've got Marsh and Butler either side of Bishop. And I think Morley, although he'll try and get forward, will obviously, when they lose the ball, tuck back on that left side. Martin Allen wide on the right.
Morley keeping a defensive eye on Des Linton, who we've seen in this cup run is an enterprising right back. So a free kick taken by David Priest. And there is Linton getting away from Morley to try and get in across.
That will be something to look for tonight, because he didn't get forward an awful lot at Upton Park, Des Linton. Perhaps his defensive duties were called upon that night. But I think tonight, when David Pleat wants a quick start, we'll see his team try to put West Ham under early pressure and sustained pressure.
Lee Chapman hoping to get better service tonight than he did in the first match. Free kick taken from the wrong place. Ball was moving as well. Some of the surface water, which if you've just joined us, I must tell you, was self-induced by Luton Town. It hasn't been a particularly wet afternoon in the Bedfordshire area, but the sprinklers have been on here. Freya with the header. Bishop coming in. Priest just got a toe to the ball to stop him shooting. Burrows. Chapman looking for Morley, who was certainly in the centre then, from Mike Marsh's cross. West Ham have gone 7 games in the Premiership without a win. But you can look at statistics in many ways. They've only lost 2 in 13 games overall since the turn of the year.
That's the one the manager will quote you.
Well, it wasn't the one that seemed uppermost in his mind when West Ham arrived here. Unsure, it seemed, about their final selection, with this worry about Alvin Martin. Of course, West Ham were the last club from outside the top division to win the FA Cup back in the 1980, when Alvin Martin was a pillar of their defence, as they hope he will be again tonight. Picked off by Bishop in front of the back four that time. Bishop again, the main purveyor of passes from the West Ham point of view. Luton certainly stopped the supply lines at Upton Park. Well, that was misjudged by Julian James. He was able to make the interception a second time. And Jürgen Sommer, whose displays at this level are still being studied by those who picked the United States World Cup squad. They've actually asked us officially for a tape of this game to send to the United States, as Jürgen continues to be in the spotlight from the American point of view, as well as that of Luton Town.
David Pleat thought tonight, Mark, that he may get a 3-against-2 situation in the centre of midfield with Scott Oakes dropping in there. But what he's going to find at times, he's going to be outnumbered like this, and they might just get space for Bishop, who we know didn't perform well in the first match, to spray the ball about.
Well, I'm not sure the linesman was absolutely full in his belief that that throw should go to West Ham. He took his time in signalling it, and Brian Hill reacted to Mick Fletcher's own decision. The referee, let me remind you again, is Brian Hill, from these days Market Harborough. Des Linton is the Luton player hurt.
It was a crunching tackle. David Burrows miscontrolled it and it got away from him. But look at the way he goes in here. In fact, players, whether they've got an eye on each other, and it's his follow-through there, I think, that caught Des Linton.
Around 3,000 West Ham supporters expected here tonight, making plenty of noise with the traditional anthem, the Bubble Song. Well, the fans won't know the difficulties that Alvin Martin has faced to be fit enough to play tonight. He's a great old campaigner. And now, as if to emphasise the state of the pitch, just starting to rain a little as well. Fox playing it forward, Peake is there. Luton glad to have his know-how available tonight, but good work on the ball by Mike Marsh. Throw to West Ham.
This has been a good start from West Ham. It's exactly what Billy Bonds would have wanted. He would have expected Luton to come at them, but they've taken the game to Luton.
Really hung up by Bishop. Summer comes a long way on a night when the wind is swirling round, when the ball is greasy. And he got away with one or two of things like that when Newcastle came here. And he didn't really come into the crowd like a goalkeeper who was absolutely determined to make it his.
We've got two huge goalkeepers on the field today, Mark, and it's going to be vitally important if balls in the box like that we do collect them. Conditions are very bad, wind-wise, it's swirling around. I'm not particularly sure it's blowing any particular way, it's just swirling.
Oh, well, that was Mikloshko kicking straight to Kerry Dixon, who tried to drive it back into goal. Had it gone in, it wouldn't have counted because the flag was up. Immediately, Dixon played the ball against Oakes.
That'll be a factor in the outcome tonight. Who handles the conditions better?
Luton very buoyant, but they're entitled to feel that. The FA Cup has brought their season to a forefront that you wouldn't have expected when they began the campaign so indifferently. Priest. Tim Breaker, 9 years with Luton Town as an apprentice, and then a very well-respected professional. Getting close to Kerry Hughes here. Well,
can you see in that corner, Mark?
I can't see down there. Our cameras can't see.
You hang over and I'll hold on to you. Go on.
You better hold on tight because I've got to lean a long way. The outcome is a throw to Luton. Dixon gets it back to Hughes. Headed out by Morley. Priest with a little header down. Paul Telfer shoots. And Mikloshko got plenty behind it. Priest with the interception. Luton starting to find their feet.
That'll settle him, Martin, it really will. Trevor Morley's the one with the defensive header. That's part of his duty tonight. As the cross comes in, Morley's got to be back on this left side. He is, but it's not a great header. But when this drops to Telfer, well, he strikes it very well. And that's good handling from Ludek McCloskell.
Headed on by Telfer. Here's Dixon, he's taken Potts with him. He's got the deflection. And David Priest goes across to take the corner.
And this is something that did trouble West Ham in the first match at Upton Park, particularly in the second half. They did get some joy. But as I say, the conditions for delivery are atrocious.
Perhaps why it goes short in the first place. Then really whipped in by Priest the second time of asking. Alan Harper plugging the gaps, picked on by Linton, and Martin playing it the way he was facing, which was across the pitch. Telfer shaping for the throw towards the near post. Well, in the jockeying, it rather ruins the effect of a long throw if a free kick is conceded by the attacking side. Burrows, Bishop, pressed by Priest. And that's a push by Linton. Trevor Morley, who had a difficult time in the Premiership game against Newcastle at the weekend, but always gives West Ham 100% whatever he's asked to do, and there's a change in his role tonight. Burrows losing out to Telfer.
Touch is vital tonight. We mentioned how the pitch is heavily watered, and I think we've seen already on quite a few occasions players' first touches, they've allowed the ball to get away from them.
The width of the pitch here exactly the same as Upton Park, but it is slightly shorter. Bishop. West Ham with too many players in midfield. It was Butler who gave it away. Dixon who shoots on the bounce. It's skipped in a straightforward fashion into the grasp of the Czech goalkeeper.
That's a bad pass that gets him in trouble. Thought for a moment he'd go on, Mark. You can see the gap there, it appears ahead of him. But he opted to shoot early and really didn't hit it as well as he could have done. But I thought he'd go and commit the defence there.
I think, who's gone clattering into the advertising hoardings.
He looks pretty shaken, but he makes a great attempt to keep this in, doesn't he? And they're that close. I mean, look how close it is. And he takes a real whack.
Offside again for running in on the goalkeeper. Alan Streets as the linesman on this near side. West Ham have reached this stage without Premiership opposition, past Watford, Notts County and non-league Kidderminster. Lee Chapman with crucial goals in rounds 4 and 5. Morley. Hughes just to help it on here.
Tell you what, Mark, there's nothing wrong with Trevor Morley's knockdown, but what they didn't have, West Ham, and if they're going to knock the ball that type of distance for Chapman and Morley to get flick-ons, then somebody like Marsh or Allen has got to be breaking into the box to give them an option.
Brees, Telfer, who is in splendid form here on Saturday and scored Luton's goal against Birmingham. David Pleat, who's always so honest. Dixon with a header. Oh! Well, McCloshko perhaps having problem with a bit of mud in the goal area, but he did get back. It didn't look as though it would be quite as difficult as it turned out to be from Kerry Dixon.
This is a superb header from Dixon, it really is. It's a wonderful ball from Brees. He spots him early. He puts it on his head, and Dixon knows he's off his line. He's looking to loop it over and comes so close to doing so.
McCloshko taking the ball at a relatively low height, but there was a lot of barging away in front of him. And it's a free kick to West Ham.
I think he was doing most of it. I think he's been lucky twice, Mark, from a long throw and a free in the goal, the corner there. But look at this, you can see he's about 5 yards off his line. Dixon gets the air on the ball, that was important. But so was the save.
Morley. Yes, he was concentrating so much on going backwards that the hand movement was on the late side. But it was enough. Chapman. Played wide by Marsh, who'll be very happy to have a job as a central midfield player tonight. He's been more recently used wide on the right of a 4 in midfield by Billy Bonds. Butler in there to keep him company as minders really for Ian Bishop. Martin Allen. Morley. Well, Linton went in with the ball high, and Allen complaining from the West Ham point of view that that might have been a free kick for dangerous play. Oakes didn't connect quite as well as he needed there. Dixon was squarer. Morley. Now it's Bishop on the left. And certainly this change of policy by Billy Bonds giving Luton something to think about in an area of their game which has been a very strong suit for them.
It's also given them a little bit more space, a little bit more time in that central midfield area that they didn't have in the first match.
Middlesbrough leading at leaders Crystal Palace with a goal from Craig Hignett. Butler, the little Yorkshire Terrier, giving away the free kick. Free kick to Luton, which Trevor Peake will take. The rain still swirling around Kenilworth Road. And the wind playing tricks on the ball as it was delivered by Peake. Dreyer heads it back. Glanced on by Linton. West Ham do, as we saw in the first game, like to defend deep, with Steve Potts the deepest of the outfield players. Chapman. Alan Harper, an old teammate of Andy Gray's at Everton when cup finals were commonplace. Well, Summer not kicking well. Dreyer doing better with the second attempt for Luton to get the ball into West Ham territory. McCloskey is coming, but the flag is up against Oakes again. But that's the type of position they like to get Oakes in, where he can come from deep.
He's exactly right. He's always looking to get in between centre-back and full-back, whether it be that inside right channel there, or this one near side, the inside left. He's always looking to go forward.
That was hit too straight by Potts.
I think where the game's been played at the moment, I mean, the area of the pitch is suiting West Ham. It's certainly been played very narrow, the game, Martin, almost the width of the penalty area. And I think that's to the advantage of West Ham. I think Luton really have got to try and spread with Hughes and Telfer in particular. It's been noticeable that both of those players have had very little of the ball in the opening 15 minutes.
Grease hounding Peter Butler, who's very competitive in his recovery, as West Ham would expect him to be. Had a bit of a reaction to his first game for almost 10 weeks against Newcastle, the home defeat on Saturday. But so keen to be involved here tonight. Dreyer getting up above Chapman. Now in a wide position, Burrows, but couldn't quite get there quick enough.
That's what can happen. You notice the ball played up. Because Mike Marsh had taken an advanced position that time, Alan Harper had to mark him, which meant that when it came back out, Morley had a bit of space.
A lovely turn by Allen. Chapman. Martin Allen again. Morley. The shot being lined up by Marsh, the flag being lined up by the linesman. So rightly or wrongly, a Wembley place at stake tonight. What that does show, amidst the argument about tradition, is that for all the reconstruction recently, other major football grounds just are not big enough to satisfy the potential demand for semi-final tickets.
Well, there may be another reason in there, but we'll leave that.
Well, it also shows that there is more money to be made from it. I don't think anybody's denying that, Andy. You don't have to be too coy about that. But if there was a stadium with a 50,000 capacity elsewhere, the traditionalists might have a stronger case. Now Morley had to be very sure with that back pass, because Linton was closing in quickly, and McCloskey in any case has only been able to kick the ball out of play. again, West Ham emphasising their strength of numbers in midfield with the challenging of Butler and Morley. They didn't get too far forward from it. Harper, Dixon, Linton. Telfer, who's good in the air, is in the middle. Hughes as well, but it goes over both of them into the safe hands of Mikloško. And this quarter-final, 20 minutes into the replay, still awaiting the first goal of the tie. James. Well, he'd lost the ball. Butler felt that he dived to get something out of the situation. Brian Hill has given Luton the free kick. Priest on the ball, giving the sign. Dreyer and Dixon making the movements in the middle. Oakes sent down the left. Just a little touch by Marsh, I think. Harper to get it back in again. And that was Burrows behind for the corner.
Good improvisation on a free kick from David Priest. It's not what they had planned. No. They were going to deliver it. They wanted to deliver it first time. The West Ham closed them down, but Oakes and Priest were alive enough to create another opportunity.
Priest with a corner. That goes behind off Burrows again.
That was the most productive one. Looking for Telfer at the near post.
Kerry Hughes right in that area as well, and Kerry Dixon. Just too much on it that time from Priest. Luton have lost only 2 of their last 18 games. And their home record is better than average, although with extra games to play in the run into the end of the league season, they have dropped down to a position that could yet be perilous if they really went off the boil in the league games they've got left. And that's just a bit of a hit and hope from David Burrows, but Chapman, he knows, will wrestle and fight for it and throw his sturdy frame into anything coming up aerially. Chapman at the sharp end of one side, Kerry Dixon, a similar sort of career really, although Dixon did get elevated to England status with 8 caps, the '86 World Cup squad of course. A couple of old gunslingers. Which one will be quicker on the trigger tonight? Here's Chapman. Morley.
That's where this plan, if you like, of Billy Bonds and Harry Redknapp was falling down at the moment. It's in the last third. As I mentioned, they've got plenty of bodies narrow in midfield. But when they get in the last third, and they really need an outlet wide, then neither fullback so far has been far enough forward to provide that.
It's funny, you talk about the West Ham sophisticated style, but their goals in this cup run have all been rather muddled past the opposition. And it really looks as though they're looking perhaps for a similar sort of approach tonight. First and foremost, to stifle the strength of Luton Town. Peak with the free kick. Martin has shown no great discomfort so far from his hip problem. Harper going in, Telfer nicely picking out Dixon, who looks for Oakes, who takes it into his stride. Oh, well, it was super play on all counts. The pass, the shot, the save. Harper, Hughes. Calmly tidied up by Potts. Butler not getting enough steel into the pass to the left, and he sold David Burrows and pushed forward. Behind him, Telfer able to get his cross in. Off the head of Allen. Bishop. Back from Dreyer, left to right.
That's unlucky. That was a super ball there from Dreyer. But Kenny Dixon was caught offside, coming back out. But the move, the pass from Dixon was one of quality. But if ever young players want an example of the importance of a first touch, then this is it. Because his first touch sets him up to take it first time. And I think Ludic McCloskey is happy that that's pretty close to him. But he had to hold on to it, and he did. Best move of the match.
Go further than that and say it was the best bit of football in the entire tie. And it came from Luton Town. Dixon never reached the semi-final of the FA Cup. Got to the quarter-final and to a replay with Chelsea a couple of years ago. He went out at Sunderland. Oakes, a bit of miscalculation by Mike Marsh. Bishop. Now Morley. Butler. West Ham putting some passes together. Breaker bombing on. They know all about that here. Fans home and away. But Julian James knocks it forward. Although Potts is on the short side, we pointed that out in the first game. He doesn't miss too much because he's so mobile. Good by Dreyer. Harper going in, it flies back towards the Luton end off Peter Butler. And West Ham might be able to just squeeze Luton into their own territory here. Harper clears. Oakes too far away from Dixon that time. Chapman, Allen. Bishop, where's the width? But here's Chapman. Breaker. Tim Breaker, who crossed superbly for Chapman's winning header against Notts County in the replay in round 4. Of course, on the same night that Luton were knocking the stuffing out of Newcastle United here. Lee Chapman got away from a ball that was delivered from certainly infield, but he made an angle for a knockdown header, and there were none of the midfield pack alive to it.
No, in all honesty, Matt, it was never a header he was going to score from himself.
Telfer. Luton's throw. They're waiting for Dreyer, who usually takes up the position right on the goal line itself, outside the frame of the goal. Dixon, Dreyer. And Martin gets it out of play. Andy, your concern here about Ludic McCloskey.
No, I'm just saying he's gambling, Martin. He's coming right out when they're knocking this long throw and right in the pack here. Look at that, he's edging, he's edging, he's edging. Look at that. He's really taking a chance there, and if they connect with one, they could be in trouble getting back.
He is back now. James had to have a swing at it as he was losing his footing.
I always think that's a dodgy tactic if you're a goalkeeper. You've got people like Alvin Martin and Chapman coming back, Martin Allen, all capable of getting headers. And if you want to come in amongst a pack like that and you don't get it, then all you're doing is conceding a goal.
Frightened, of course, about getting stranded if Luton do get a flick on, or indeed if it flicks off, of course, a West Ham head as well. Can often do the trick. Asking David Burrows to provide the width on the left again. Morley. Pete trying to shepherd him out of harm's way. Comes back here for Butler. Oh, Allen! No offside! Luton hold an inquest. Martin Allen celebrates the opening goal at Kenilworth Road, the opening goal in this entire FA Cup quarter-final. Billy Bonds takes it all without rising to his feet in celebration.
Well, they manufacture a position again. It comes back, he looks up Butler. There's both Allen and Chapman. Chapman had checked his one at the back post. I'll tell you what, this is close, you know. In fact, unless Des Linton, I think it's Des Linton that far side's in line, then it's a very, very close decision. It really is.
Well, Allen didn't look the gift horse in the mouth. They talk about the year of the underdog, perhaps. But Luton are behind here. They might be talking about the year of the man they call Mad Dog, Martin Allen. Telfer round the back. Linton is there. It's the bar.
Well, they might just have the name on it after all. They get away with it twice. First the header that McCloskey knew nothing about, threw his body at it. He got lucky because it hit him. Comes back to Linton. He hits a magnificent shot straight off the face of the bar.
Oakes. Stopped by Martin. Well, Paul Telfer was certainly going to get to the cross beyond the far post, but he headed it against a blocking goalkeeper. It came to Linton, who rattled the frame of the goal. And Brian Hill's given the free kick against Telfer.
Let's have a look at this, Martin. You see, it's a wonderful deep cross from Hughes. It tempts the goalkeeper. Look at that, he just throws his body at it. He gets lucky, and then he gets lucky again.
Well, West Ham have taken the lead with a goal with a heavy element of offside about it. Luton's response has been very, very positive, but it hasn't produced the instant reply that they were desperate for.
You know, it's amazing, isn't it? Sometimes you have a cup tie, Martin, when there's such a prize at stake, that people are nervy and they're anxious, and no one wants to make a mistake. But suddenly when a goal goes in, it changes the whole complexion of the match. Suddenly there's no need to fear anything. Certainly if you're chasing the game, you have to go at it. And that's what we've found with Luton since the goal. The response has been first class.
Well, so many of the Allen clan have been involved in the FA Cup. Les Allen, who won with Tottenham as a player in 1961. Paul Allen with West Ham in 1980. Clive Allen's played in a couple of finals and been a loser both times. And here, Martin Allen has scored in the sixth round replay for West Ham United. His ball was caught on the wind and flown away from Kerry Dixon. Well, West Ham will not be contemplating a place in the semi-final as yet. They will play Chelsea if they get through, of course. They play Chelsea whatever happens this coming Saturday in the Premiership at Stamford Bridge. Cheers for the flag going up this time. Dixon. Dreyer. Over Dixon, Telfer hoping to flick on. Dixon goes again, Priest slips as he tries to get there. Forward with studied concentration by Tim Breaker, trying to drop it where Chapman could keep the move going forward for West Ham. Well, Linton did well there. His kick didn't help him at all. Oakes. He's in. It's 1-1. Scott Oakes.
Well, there's another question mark, isn't there? This time from the West Ham defenders. Only this time they do push up. They gamble here. The ball comes down now. I think Tim Breaker is nearest now. He's the one that pushes out. There you can see him step out with his hand up. He knows he can't do anything about it. Now, does he do it too late? Now, once again, the number 2 is the key. Now, is he too late? He definitely is too late. He's too deep, he's too late, he's in the wrong position, and Oakes finishes very well indeed.
Well, Scott Oakes, who has this freedom to move forward from a deepish position ahead of the midfield players behind Kerry Dixon, licence to thrill, really, and he's thrilled the Kenilworth Road crowd here, at least the majority of them. Allen, Linton, Dixon, off goes Oakes again. He's got support in the shape of Hughes. Well, you'd have to say that there was a lot of doubt about the West Ham opening goal, but the angle that we showed there on the replay from our 18-yard camera proved absolutely conclusively that the linesman was spot on not to flag as Scott Oakes struck the equaliser.
I think we saw that quite clearly. It was a poor position for Tim Breaker to be in, Martin.
Butler. A fight to the finish, remember here.
How many does this ground hold, Mark?
Just over 13,000.
Well, they're making enough noise.
They are. And you can't blame them. The quarter-final has really come alive here at the second time of asking. And largely because of a disputed goal.
We can have a closer look at it, Mark, with the ball out of play. Now, they're coming out. Now, look at the right-hand side of the screen. The top of the 18-yard box, right on the corner. The ball's delivered there. Now, that proves it there. I think that shot, the linesman is absolutely spot on. Neither Allen or Chapman are offside. Very composed finish. Cleared up.
Pat on the back for all the officials. Mick Fletcher on the far side, who had a very difficult decision because the Luton player, Des Linton, was very close to him. So he was almost looking through him. And Alan Streets did the job for Brian Hill. And it's 1-1. Here's Priest again, Hughes. Terry Hughes was very involved in the first game. They've asked him, David Pleat has asked him to play wider when Luton have the ball in this replay. Telfer tearing ahead of Linton. Here's Harper. Scotland a goal down to the World Cup qualifiers. Holland, Brian Roy, the scorer. Newcastle at St James's Park lead Ipswich by a Scott Sellers goal to 0. Oakes. Mikloško has come. He could be left stranded here. Oakes had Kerry Dixon to try and pick out with the cross, and others coming from midfield.
He lost the opportunity, Martin, as soon as he decided to take a touch past the goalkeeper. This was a golden chance, because Mikloško's not near enough. Now there, play it over him. Keeper's out, he's not within 10 yards of him. But as soon as he took it wide there, the chance I felt was lost. It's one of those you have to decide. You have to decide to go first time and risk your luck, risk your accuracy.
Lucky Ludo.
Go on! Get up! Get up!
Butler. Martin trying to hammer it down the channel. Chapman getting underneath it, but came off the head of Dreyer. Morley for Allen. Oh, Peake's lost it completely. Didn't know where the ball was going to drop. Turned his back on it. Dreyer, happily for Luton, got across before West Ham could react to that. Hughes. James going off to the left this time. Dixon through the centre. Priest lets it run cleverly. Telfer. Oakes on the right this time. Linton. Oh, the deflection made it a bit easier for Mikloško. There's Linton, who's already hit the bar, remember.
I think it was important for Luton to get level, Mark, before half-time. I think had they gone in 1-0 down, and perhaps it would have been a real hurdle to get back. Getting that equaliser as quick as they did. Yeah, they're up now, aren't they?
Well, here's Telfer. I could go in front.
Well, Tim Braken, I think we're going to have to look at his position again, Mark, because if you're the right back and the play is coming down your left back side, and the one thing you can't be is 4 or 5 yards deeper. You see Tim Braken again. Now he's the one. He's deeper than Alvin Martin, and it's impossible for him to do anything. He can't get across to Telfer. He can't get back. And the only thing that saves him is Telfer doesn't get it on target.
Terrific pass. Kerry Dixon, I think it was. James.
Help!
Dixon. Well, look at that. Luton so far ahead when it comes to shots. West Ham have put one on target.
That wasn't a pretty tackle either from David Burrows there, Mark. Sorry.
Problem when facts and figures go up when football's going on. Sorry, Andy, you were talking about the relevant things. Priest. Allen. Hughes. Telfer could line it up for Linton here. Sticky spell for West Ham on a sticky pitch. Peake. Header in field from Telfer was anticipated by Bishop. Allen. Breaker. Gives it away. Not having the happiest return to his old hunting ground, Tim Breaker.
He looks uncertain.
It's interesting, Andy, when you talk about defensive strategy, that both right-backs have got caught in the goals. Well, a terrific first half after perhaps a slow start, but Martin Allen finally making a breakthrough for West Ham. But Scott Oakes has been a real star turn in this cup run, trying to make sure that Luton keep it going. It's 1-1 at Kenilworth Road at half-time. We'll be back after the break.
Welcome back. Slow start, but my goodness me. Good game now, isn't it? Luton 1, West Ham United 1. 10 shots from Luton, 7 on target, just 1 from West Ham, and they scored with it. They haven't yet forced a corner either. Luton have 4, but West Ham have had 51% of it. Mick Harford and Clive Allen, our guests here tonight. Mick, the Coventry striker who lives in Luton and loves the place as well, as we said at the start, and Clive, but just like for 20 minutes or so, wasn't it? Then Martin Allen scored and the game took off.
Yeah, that's right. I think the wind is playing a very important role in the game. It's very, very difficult, but I think it's all credit to Luton. They've got the ball down and they've passed it the better of the two teams.
Here comes the opening goal, scored by Clive's cousin here, Martin Allen. And it was a bit of a Clive Allen take, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a good move. It was really the first time we got the ball into our front boys. Trevor's held it up, and we've worked it back across the field. And when Peter Butler has his first touch, he has a look straight away. Martin's obviously coming in from the right-hand side. Good first touch and a nice finish. Left foot.
And now from the 18-yard line here. Now, Mick Harford, you thought offside initially. Have you changed your mind? What comes in now?
Initially, yeah, definitely onside. His time is run perfect. He's gone back with the last defender and he's gone back in again. And Des Linton is playing him onside. Good goal, yeah. Good goal.
Very critical of the linesman that disallowed Alan Shearer's goal at the weekend, but they were spot on there, weren't they?
Yeah, tremendous.
Good decision. And here's the equaliser from Scott Oakes. It was important for Luton to get in at half-time at 1-1-2, wasn't it?
Very much so, yeah. And I mean, as Clive said, the wind is playing havoc out there. Scott was a bit lucky. He just ran away from him. But as Dixon had done earlier in the game, he played a lovely little ball into Scott Oakes. Tim out of pitches, got his arm up, and obviously Scott's on the side, and it's a great finish. I mean, he's just had a look up and he stuck it in the far corner. The keeper's got no chance.
Again, Clive, just in case there were any doubts, I think this confirms it was a very good decision.
Yeah, that's right. The ball's broke away there. Potsy's got a toe to it, but Tim, as you can see, he's playing him on side. He's tried to step up, but there's probably a yard in it from that angle, and a good finish.
And probably no more than they deserved. They'd had some good chances.
Well, that's right. As I said earlier, they certainly got the ball down and they passed the ball better than we did. They got into dangerous areas and got out our back four. And especially on the right-hand side, they've had a number of shots which have obviously peppered our goal. Kerry's done exceptionally well. He's found areas of the pitch. He's got the ball and made one or two telling passes to get the ball in behind our back four. And he really has been on his game tonight.
You should have been impressed with Kerry Dixon's contribution, haven't you?
Yeah, his technique and touch has been spot on. He's played 3 balls in. He played Telfer in wide down the right, and he also played Scott Oakes earlier in, who could have scored. I mean, he's on his game tonight.
Des Linton could have scored as well. In between the 2 goals, he thumped this shot against the bar.
Yeah, I think the wind's got a factor to do. It's probably the wind's took it away from Telfer's. I mean, he's very good in the hand. Ludo's just blocked it. It's fell to Des, and it's a hit note, and it could have flew in the back of the net. Fortunately for West Ham, it didn't. That would have been the equaliser, and it would have been. I mean, it could have been a different game all round. Luton could have been in the league by now.
Prize tonight, remember, a place in the semi-finals at Wembley against Chelsea, and here's their manager, Glenn Hoddle.
Well, Glenn, as a very interested onlooker, what do you make of the first half?
Well, obviously the conditions out there with the wind and the surface, it's been a bit difficult, but it's been a very exciting game, and I've got to say that Luton have obviously edged the first 45 minutes with the chances that they've created. But looking at the 2 goals, I think there was a suspicion of offside, but I felt both of them perhaps were onside, and the officials have done their job.
Who would you prefer to meet in the semi-final?
We don't mind that. Really, we're in a double mission here tonight because we've got West Ham on Saturday in the league. So no, it's obviously nice to run our eye across them, but we're not too bothered who we've got at Wembley. It's going to be a massive game for our club. So we're looking forward to that. But at the moment, you know, I would go towards Luton.
All right. Well, Glenn, thanks for your comments. Enjoy the second half, and we'll see you in the semi-final.
1-1 here. Scores from elsewhere tonight. Friendly internationals, Northern Ireland 0, Romania 0 is the latest. Republic of Ireland and Russia drew 0-0 earlier, 1-0 to Holland at Hampden Park. In the Premiership, 1-0 to Newcastle United, Scott Sellers the goal scorer. And in Division 1, it's Crystal Palace 0, Middlesbrough 1, Craig Hignett. Kenilworth Road, the venue of our live football tonight, Luton Town 1, West Ham United 1. Anything could happen next. No sign of the teams yet. 1-1 at Kenilworth Road at half-time. Mick Harford, first of all, who's the happier at this stage?
I think Luton will be much happier. West Ham started off very well. They played nice, neat football, but I mean, they've never threatened a goal, really. They only had 1 shot, 1 goal. So I think David Pleat and his lads will be very happy in that.
And West Ham try to win it now in 45 minutes, or are they looking beyond that, Clive?
Oh, I think they'll take heart from going in at 1-1, to be honest. I think they were under intense pressure at certain stages in that first half, and they feel that you know, they can now perhaps have a go at Luton coming down this end and towards their own supporters.
Are you happy with what you've seen so far, or would you change anything from West Ham's point of view?
Well, as I say, I think they'd be disappointed that they really haven't got hold of the ball in midfield and passed it how they set out to do before the game started. So I think it's going to be crucial that they get to play how we can.
You two both know him well enough. Mick, what's David Pleat's message to Luton, do you think, at this stage?
I think he'll be happy. He was worried about the fear factor at the beginning of the game. He'll be happy. I think they've conquered that early on. He'll just send the bat out again, and you know, Telford did get in behind the fullback quite a few times, and he'll be looking to get the ball wide to him again.
Well, we're just about set for the second half. Luton Town 1, West Ham United 1, 45 minutes at least ahead of us. Remember, to the finish tonight, extra time and maybe penalties as well. Let's rejoin Andy Gray and Martin Tyler.
Thank you, Richard. Well, 11 of the Premiership clubs have gone out of the FA Cup this season, 2 sides from lower divisions. Luton doing their utmost here to make it 12. Since the first game, they had a match at Bolton postponed and then drew 1-1 here against Birmingham. West Ham had that home defeat against Newcastle on Saturday, a match that Martin Allen was dropped from. He's come back with a point to prove and a goal. Scott Oakes, though, making sure that it wasn't the winning goal. Andy, impressed the way Luton rallied after conceding the first goal of the tie?
Oh, definitely, Martin. The question that David Pleat would have been asking before this tie, I don't think he's seen his side go 1 down in a cup tie this season. And it's always, you always learn more about your side when that happens. They went 1 down, and I tell you what, didn't they respond well?
Chapman. Potts with the header. Long from Linton. Dixon right alongside his old England colleague Alvin Martin. Bishop tricked Harper well. Allen goes to the right. Morley alongside Chapman in the middle. And the wind playing tricks again. Peake had the difficulty making the first header, but he scrambled it away at the second attempt. And here's Luton's playmaker, David Priest. Lovely movement off the ball by Oakes. And wasn't wet enough over there, was it? The ball actually skipped on.
Picked up pace, didn't it?
It did.
Incredible. Because it looked a great ball. Exactly what Scott Oakes was looking for, but it just seemed to pick up pace.
get a quick word from Nick Collins.
Well, I had a quick word with Billy Bonds, Martin, just now, and he says it's every bit as tight as he thought it would be, but he said the West Ham must improve their passing in this second half. He also admitted that the players are finding this swirling wind a bit of a problem.
Billy and Harry Redknapp, his assistant. David Pleat, incidentally, was crippled yesterday by severe back pain, a problem he suffered from in the past, and it returned at a really inconvenient time. Oakes, yes! A second for Luton, a second for Scott Oakes. McCluskey looked like a goalkeeper who saw it late, too late.
And a second assist for Kenny Dixon. Mick Harper said he looked like he was enjoying this, and this again shows why. He muscles his way in, Mark, against Alvin Martin. All he wants to do is drop it in Oakes' path. He does that excellently. Look at the run from Oakes. Goes one way, checks back the other, and I tell you what, he hits that very well indeed. There's about a foot of a gap to come through. Two players, and Oakes finds it. What a start for Luton to the second half.
He is their top scorer, taking his tally to 11 for the season. But a scorer here against Newcastle in round 4 with the insurance goal, really. A scorer at Cardiff in round 5, and 2 tonight with Kerry Dixon, able to put the ball into the right areas for him. Chapman. Here's Linton.
They won't be happy at how far they backed off there, Mark. We talk about West Ham defending deep. That was excessive for it to be played almost 60 yards and Dixon to take it on his chest.
Now Burrows. Well, he's got a hammer, pour the hammers in that left foot.
Who's going to get that ball? That's what I want to know.
Well, it's not this fella. He'll be happy for all the time to be taken to get it back. Sitting there in some pain, but with some pleasure now as well. Nick's got a bit more news on David. Nick.
Martin, when Luton took the lead, everybody on that bench leapt in the air except for David Pleat because of that muscle spasm problem he's got in his back. He sat bolt upright while everybody else was jumping for joy.
Burrows went in with his feet high. That's what the crowd were yelling for. The advantage was played by Brian Hill, and then he had to whistle because there was an offside. Harper.
Question remains now, Mark. The question we should ask now, will Billy Bonds change it? Will he revert to a more familiar 4-4-2? Will he push Morley up already at this moment? Or will he just check for 4 or 5 minutes?
Butler. Burrows. Will he, Billy Bonds that is, send for Steve Jones, who's a substitute tonight?
This just gives a lovely idea. Look at Dixon. Wonderful control there. I mean, all he's doing is drop it back in there. And it's a difficult shot. I tell you, you saw the way. You see Dixon's in an offside position technically, Mark. But I think the officials there are quite right.
Not for the first time. Here is Dixon. Oh, Priest is there. Potts is going across. The pass has put him a bit wide. Dixon, who's had a lovely touch in his passing tonight, just stroked that one a bit too hard.
I don't know whether the wind's blowing that way, Martin. That's two passes, one from Priest earlier and that one from Dixon. It just seemed to pick up pace. That's one man who's anxious to face his old club for the looks of things in that semi-final, isn't he? Imagine trying to put a long throw in with a wind like that against you. It must be so difficult.
Well, no one's going to know where it drops. It goes shorter this time, which is the more sensible approach from Kerry Hughes. And on he ploughs now. Until he's stopped a yard or so from the penalty area by a rather beleaguered Tim Breaker.
It's a balmy tackle, Martin. I don't know what he's thinking of. He's frustrated because he gets beaten easily and with great skill. But he's facing Potts. He's not really going anywhere. Kerry Hughes, all Tim Breaker's done, he's put his team under pressure. Unnecessarily.
Stoppage gives us a chance to tell you that Northern Ireland, in Brian Hamilton's first game as manager, have taken the lead against Romania. Arsenal's Steve Morrow, who has scored a famous goal, of course, last season for his club in the League Cup final, which finished very agonisingly for him. I hope he has a happier conclusion tonight. At least he hasn't got Tony Adams to lift him up on the final whistle. John Hartson, who we saw out there centre stage against Newcastle, the scorer of the first goal in that replay, substitute in this replay. It's Scott Oakes trying to strike for the third time. Dixon, Dreyer. Well, we talked at the outset about how confident Luton were about finishing the job tonight, and with plenty of justification. Potts in the right place defensively. James trying a trick or two. David Pleat won't want them to get too flash, Luton, here.
But West Ham have got to keep it tight. If they're asked questions defensively at the moment, and to a man, they've got to stand up and be counted. They can't afford to go two down, Martin. Otherwise, you just feel that would be too much for them.
West Ham supporters will tell you that they've never enjoyed seeing their team play on this particular stage. West Ham, of course, were promoted from Division 1 last season, but they played here towards the end of that season against the Luton side that were looking to avoid relegation. And Luton won 2-0 that night. It was about 11 months ago now. Linton. Auer. Well, we've seen very little from West Ham in an attacking force in the second half. Martin doesn't get there, Oakes goes on, and a wonderful piece of recovery by Steve Potts, which shows you in an instant what a valuable centre-back he's become, because he's got that power of recovery.
We would have expected Scott Oakes to leave Alvin Martin behind, wouldn't we, with his pace? But how important was Steve Potts' determination to make that his, determination not to allow Oakes a clear running goal. It was wonderful defending.
If he misses that, or mistimes it even, he would have been sent off. It would have been game over, perhaps. Blatters out off Martin Allen, who is the mad dog at the moment, barking at the linesman.
Well, he can have no argument about that decision. James has smashed it off him.
See that shiner that Julian James has got there? It was a legacy of a bruising match here against Birmingham on Saturday. Martin. Well, they'll lean heavily on those who've been all the way in the FA Cup, like Martin and Burrows, to try and see some way out of this for West Ham United. 2-1 down, having taken the lead. Linton. Hughes coming in from the left, calling for a ball through the middle. It goes shorter to Telfer. Oakes is cropping up everywhere. He gets so much publicity because of his family background in the music business, of course. But he's making the football music out on the pitch. He's a star in his own right, Scott Oakes. Telfer.
Well, quite simply at the moment, West Ham are being out-footballed, Martin. It's as simple as that. All of it is coming from the team in white.
Well, if you set out your stall to stifle the opposition and pick a team accordingly and don't stifle them, you're in a pretty pickle. That's how West Ham find themselves at the moment. Desperate to avoid conceding a third goal here. Hughes with the corner. Ball catches on the wind again, and that's to the discomfort of Harper. But Priest was alert to that, but he's given it away to Morley. And Peter Butler's taken up a position through the centre here. Peak, great pass for Bishop. Is this the equaliser? It is. Ian Bishop. His first goal for almost a year is sped past Jurgen Sommer.
Well, they'll be absolutely furious in that Luton bench. Great vision from Butler, and when he needed a composed head on his shoulders, then Bishop had it. Perhaps the goalkeeper would have made things a little bit more difficult. Again, we see there no question of offside. It's close to the goalkeeper's left hand, but he can't get enough on it. But I'll tell you where it started, a bad corner from Luton.
A chance to make it 3-1 within seconds. It's 2-2.
It's incredible. West Ham, I think, about 2 shots at goal, Martin. And look at that scoreline.
Great presence of mind from Peter Butler, who didn't quite fancy himself one-on-one with Trevor Peake, so let the ball do the work. Dixon. Telfer again finding Potts quick off the mark. So both sides have had the lead here and lost it.
Well, we thought the wind would play an important part in this game, and it certainly did with that West Ham equaliser. As it was cleared from the corner, Alan Harper normally would have taken control of it quite comfortably, quite easily. He lost it in that swirling wind, and from that moment, they were really struggling.
Well, David Priest tried to help him out, but in playing the ball, only in the end, set West Ham on their way. It's a long way to go. But they pieced together the move with a confidence that they haven't shown particularly often. Allen. And still. And Sommer was able to divert it.
I just wonder whether he tried to catch this, the goalkeeper. It was at that height where he would have fancied getting both hands on it and taking hold of it. And it looked to squirm through his grasp.
Well, if he did try to catch it, it was a risky thing to do on a wet and windy night. Well, Luton had left Priest upfield.
But we have to say it was a great enterprising run from Allen, wasn't it? Step over there, creates the space, a true shot. And look how close that goes to dropping in the corner.
Half an hour to go of what we might term now regulation time, and the possibility of another half an hour. And the way this replay is shaped up, I think there'd be plenty who'd be happy to see that. A semi-final spot back in the melting pot, thanks to Ian Bishop for West Ham United.
Again, Martin, we can emphasise again and again, go across the goalkeeper and you'll always have a chance. But seeing it from that angle, I just wonder if he could have done more about it, Jurgen Sommer.
Butler. Chapman. Praise for the linesman. He was going to get an earful one way or the other. It almost looked as though the ball went out the first time for a corner. Alvin Martin has come forward. And he meets it. Sommer flailed at the ball. at full stretch, just touched it away for another corner.
Well, the reason he had to get it, Martin, not that the header from Alvin Martin was going in, but look who was waiting to pounce, Martin Allen, and that was the importance of the touch. What a turnaround in the game, eh? Amazing.
Offside. Bishop tried to thread it inside the left of Luton's defending, but Mike Marsh had sped forward too soon.
Oh, isn't it wonderful cup football, eh?
You'd better believe it. I also have to say, Andy, that I think from everyone's point of view, we're pretty happy the way the FA Carling Premiership is shaping up as well over the few weeks that remain in the season. Dixon. Oh, and Martin had to make contact there. Dixon, the freer mover. Alvin Martin, let me remind you again, had to have an injection today to take the pain out of a sore hip. Typical stoic performance from him. He's missed so many games over the last couple of years. And here's Chapman. Peake got to it. Back from Bishop. Chapman with a good touch, but made a shot for himself out of very little indeed. He was claiming that the deflection was via a hand. Certainly the crowd were yelling from the other end of the ground, who had this sort of view.
It's incredible. They've been so much in control, but since the goal, well, they've looked very edgy. I just wonder if they thought there. You could see Butler in the edge of the box coming into the shot, whether he ever thought of laying it off, but I don't think so.
Well, we haven't seen too much of Lee Chapman as a goal threat, but wouldn't it be just like him to nip in at the crucial moment and settle it? Peter Butler waits by the near post with Chapman. Summer started to come. Oh, and Martin got a little piece of it. Almost fell into an area where Morley might have collected. But all the tension really in the first game, too much for some of the West Ham players to handle. They were very, very down after the game at Upton Park, when they seemed to have all these strong cards in their hand and couldn't win a trick. But so much has opened out here. I have to tell you that Andy Gray, who knows a thing or two about FA Cup football, has plumped for a 2-2 draw here for his pre-match prediction.
I tell you what, I would be very surprised if it ends up 2-2, don't you believe it?
Breaker.
But Billy Bonds has changed, Martin. There's no thought in Trevor Morley's mind now of filling in this left-hand side. He's now up front as a striker with Chapman.
Marsh. Here's Potts. Troyer trying to get a toe in, then Harper doing just that. Crease. And Martin very rarely makes the wrong decision in those circumstances. 20 years a West Ham man. Bishop. Morley is given offside, and it was late. It was late.
That's the trouble. It's so difficult when defenders step up Now you watch the defender there. Pass is played, he steps up, he's not offside. You can see that. But with that movement, it really makes it a difficult decision for the linesman. Trevor Peake gambled and got away with it.
And Trevor Morley was right to raise the question. Goes in Morley's way again. I think it might be a free kick. The linesman's already flagged for a throw. In both cases in the direction of Luton Town.
It certainly was a clash, this, wasn't it? Morley and James going for it.
Oh,
take that.
And he's got one shiner. Morley was trying to force his way in front. So I have to say that is a previous wound, not inflicted tonight, but there's plenty of strength in the arm of Morley then, and perhaps he was lucky that Luton really didn't make a fuss of that. Everyone facing away towards the sidelines. Linton chased by Marsh. Still given time to clear. Off the head of Martin. Hughes gets there, gets it to the other Kerry, Dixon. Oakes. Hughes. Oh, lovely play from Luton. Telfer.
Isn't it so frustrating when you don't miss out that first player, when you work a wonderful opening as Luton did then?
Tim Breaker covered well into the middle, was given a chance to clear. It was flicked on by Dixon. Linton going in. Martin keeping it short but safe to Marsh. And now Bishop. Allen to the right. Breaker pushing on ahead of him. Butler. Now Potts. Bishop. Burrows has got a lot of room on the left. The pass came belatedly to him and behind him. FA Cup winner with Luton 2 years ago, David Burrows. With Liverpool, I should say. Allen. Morley. First to the left, then to the right. Cross again, catching on the breeze. Bishop! Not far away at all.
Well, the goalkeeper looked very composed about that. He looked very confident that this was going over. But I have to say, I didn't share his confidence. This looked like it might just dip in. I tell you what, the goalkeeper could have done very little about it had that been 6 or 7 inches lower. But they've got men wide in the second half and further up the field, and that's helped them.
Potts. Toshko had to kick it quickly. It was a terrific ball in the first place from David Priest on the far side, looking to get Oakes in. But Potts got to first.
Carl, who would your money be on now, eh? It's one of those cup ties, isn't it? At 2-1 and dominating the game, you really fancied Luton. One mistake, West Ham get the goal. And since that moment, the confidence has just grown.
There's been much more poise in West Ham's play since it went to 2-2. Tigerish work from Butler. Bishop. Oh, and Alan Harper has spat a comment back at the referee then. I mean, metaphorically. And he is booked by Brian Hill. And he'd be well advised to button his lip now. And West Ham have a free kick. Can they produce a set piece of Premiership pedigree here and regain the lead?
They haven't exactly put up a formidable wall there, Luton.
Harper is the charger. Out he comes, and he does the job. But James couldn't get away. There was a late tackle there by Hughes, but West Ham still have the ball, with Alvin Martin much to the fore, and again, linking up with Marsh. Back it goes to Burrows, the chance for a cross. For Morley, gets the ball down, and, well, he feels that he was robbed of the goal illegally. Kerry Dixon got it behind for a corner.
I think John Dreyer played a big part in this. You watch this, he feels it was a free kick there, I don't. I thought they both got in there. Dreyer got enough on it for me to knock it to Dixon, and he cleaned it up.
It was a very confident take on the chest by Morley, which got him into that position.
I know it's easy after the event, Martin, but I just thought as the cross came in, it was there to be headed.
And Summer finds it there for the catching. After a hook shot from Chapman. Telfer's header. Ben Harper. Burrows. Oakes. Burrows getting back. Oakes gets the ball infield to Priest. Responsible work by Bishop, but can't complete the clearance. Breaker with a diving header away. It's in these areas that West Ham have looked more assertive since they levelled it at 2-2 through midfield.
They seem to be happier with the shape now, with Morley up front. It gives them that double option now. With Chapman as a lone raider in the first half, they were very limited and didn't really create an awful lot in the last third. But since Morley's introduction up front, they've certainly looked better for that.
Morley having to chase his own help on. Throw to West Ham. Will Potts took a chance trying to control that, and he's given it away to the one player he didn't want to. Is this the hat-trick? It is! What a night for Scott Oakes. Steve Potts has to take this one on the chin. But is it the knockout blow? Who knows the way this tie is going?
Well, he's been immaculate all night, Steve Potts. Whether the wind gave him a problem again. But you're right, the one person he didn't want to see bearing down on him was Scott Oakes. He's the one player who had the pace to leave Alvin Martin behind here. He's the one player high on confidence. 2 goals already in his pocket. And look at that for an assured finish. What have West Ham got left now, Martin? That's the question.
Steve Potts hangs his head. But there's still time for West Ham to give another twist to this fascinating story here. But what a personal achievement by Scott Oakes. Well, Shawaddy, his father, a leading member of the band, will be writing a new song for him after this. And here's Oakes again, and he could be put through again. Here's another chase. Still Oakes, brought down by Breaker. Brian Hill, surrounded by present Luton players. What's going to happen to the past Luton defender? The West Ham right back. Was there enough cover around for Brian Hill to find some mitigating circumstances here?
That's the only thing that's going to keep him on the field. Does Brian Hill feel there were other defenders around that could have stopped Scott Oakes' track on goal? There certainly is there. Is it Steve Potts coming around just out of shot, coming round here? But look at that, it is an awful tackle. No matter what colour the card is, Martin, that was an awful tackle.
Well, it's a yellow card.
It was cynical. He had nothing, no other intention in his mind, I felt, but just to stop Scott Oakes. He certainly didn't look to me as if he was trying to make contact with the ball.
Billy Bond's team still has 11 players. Well, let's look at the free kick before we talk again about the way it was conceded. Telfer takes it. James comes round the back. One thing that was different from the way that Oakes got his hat-trick, when he ran away unattended, was that there were other West Ham players apart from Tim Breaker trying to get there.
Oh, he's up.
He is a fidget. He is a fidget.
There's a great example of what adrenaline does for sore bodies, Mark.
Let's get a word from Nick Collins.
Well, Martin, just to tell you, when that third Luton goal went in, David Pleat did jump in the air. He didn't exactly dance around like the rest of them, but he did manage a fairly respectable walk. As you can see, he's up on his feet again.
Hughes. Telfer. Harper. Linton in behind Burrows. Dixon going in. Still Luton's ball with Paul Telfer. Still not for sure Luton's cup tie. It's chopped and changed so much here for anybody to be confident about the final outcome. Telfer. Dixon. Champing at the bit to play against Chelsea in the semi-final. Really butted back by Dreyer.
Steve Jones is getting warmed up, Mark, and there's no surprise there. It's all or nothing now for Billy Bonds and his side. 11 minutes or so to go. They desperately need something else to happen for them.
Steve Jones for Mike Marsh. Jones scored at Notts County. An equalising goal there. Can he do the job here? Good section of the West Ham fans would like to see more of Steve Jones as a regular. They've enjoyed watching his development. Of course, scored an exciting goal in one of our Monday night matches against Norwich City recently. A game which finished 3-3. I thought that was an omen there. Butler. Bishop. Shots on. Shots wide.
Worth a strike, Martin. It's worth a strike.
Have a wider look at the cover here that perhaps led to a yellow card and not a red one. Andy.
Steve Potts, yes. I think the referee quite rightly has taken that into consideration. So perhaps Tim Breaker can thank Potts for keeping him on the field.
Oakes again, this outstanding individual performance. Jones, it's a fine ball in, one that needed some strong handling by Jurgen Sommer. Trevor Morley was there in case there was any fumble.
Well, John Gray shouldn't have allowed this to go in. I mean, he dug it out very well indeed. Very well indeed. The goalkeeper had to deal with something that he really didn't expect.
Well, so much of the first game was about the influence of the coaching staff at both clubs. The tactics predominated. But it's been now a cup tie put up on a pedestal, really, where if you're out there playing in it, you've really just got to do everything possible to try and influence it for the side you represent.
Although they haven't created an awful lot in general play, Martin, they've looked dangerous from free kicks. And I think if they can get enough set pieces and corners in this last 9 minutes, they will still ask plenty questions of Luton. But what David Pleat now will be trying to do is get a message to his back four. This is a good take from the goalkeeper when you need it. But he'll be trying to get a message to his back four, I'm sure, to say, keep them all intact. There's no need for Linton or James to be bombing forward needlessly. You've got the lead, you're 3-2 ahead, just make sure you don't get caught 3 against 3 at the back or a man short. Always make sure you have the extra man at the back. That must be his message.
West Ham have gone 3 up front now, really, with Morley and Chapman and Jones.
Well, Alvin Martin sneaking forward, Martin. He's on the edge of the box now.
And that might leave more room for the ebullient Scott Oakes. Super pass for Hughes. Breaker, who's got to be very careful in any sort of challenge now. Another offence, and he would be off. Oakes showing that he can pass the ball as well as deposit it in Mikoshko's net. A hat-trick for Scott Oakes here. Martin Allen and Ian Bishop, the 2 goals for West Ham. Bishop on the ball. Jones.
But let's have another look at this wonderful finish. And don't you believe that this is easy? He's got people chasing him. He can see Alvin Martin at the corner of his eye. He needs to be composed. He needs to have a cool head. Look at the way the ball's sitting up. But what he does brilliantly, Martin, in my opinion, is he gets it off the ground. Goalkeepers 9 times out of 10 will go low and spread themselves. And by lifting it like that, Oakes gave McCloskey absolutely no chance.
He's got very good feet, very good balance. And David Pleat plucked him and Des Linton in a joint deal from Leicester City, where David, of course, was formerly the manager. Telfer to Scott. McCloskey with the check with the catch.
This is what I mean, though, Martin. Look at that. They've got 3 against 3 at the back. They don't want to be doing that.
And here's space for Jones. Morley battled for it. And
that was excellent play from the experienced Trevor Peake. Did you notice, as soon as he knew he couldn't get there, but watch the hands. He knows he's not going to get there, but he's committed. So what does he do? The hands go, oops, I'll put my hands up to show I'm not tackling. To be fair, he doesn't. And the referee, right on the edge of frame there, is in the perfect position to see that.
Well, Jones, as you saw, as he fell, had a good look in Brian Hill's direction, hoping for some sympathy.
More in hope than expectancy, I felt.
Burrows. Morley. Burrows. Butler didn't really want the ball in there, but he's battled away typically to get it back for West Ham. Breaker into the mix-up. Butler, well, bit of bulking.
I thought that was the other way. I thought the West Ham player, I'm not sure what it was, Morley used his body just to keep the Luton defender away. As it drops down here. Now watch Trevor Morley. Now look at that. Does he use his body illegally there? And will this be a moment we'll look back on and say, Luton have been hard done by?
Well, West Ham are what? 5 minutes away from going out of the FA Cup. Could this be the lifeline at Luton?
Well, hit the target, that's the message.
For David Burrows. He doesn't.
Perhaps after seeing the replay, justice is done. You can see there's a hole there, isn't there? There's definitely a space there, just as Tim Breaker comes into it, that side of the goal. But you look at John Dreyer, he had gone back and got himself right by that post.
David Pleat took them to the semi-final in 1985 when they were beaten at Villa Park by Everton. Luton in the post-Pleat era the first time around, got to the semi-final in '88 when they went down to Wimbledon at White Hart Lane. Tim Breaker played in that game for Luton. Chapman backing on. Telfer hoisted high. Volleyed away into space by Oakes.
Oh, relief. There was a sudden silence as the crowd wondered which way Brian Hill was going to point for the free kick. It went Luton's way, and didn't we know it?
Coming up on the Sky Sports, the latest chapter in the Victory Shield story. Northern Ireland against Scotland, the Schoolboy International, Saturday morning. We're on at 10:30. Monday night from the FA Carling Premiership, Bramall Lane, Sheffield United against West Ham United.
Well, I bet this is going to be a long couple of minutes for David Pleat sitting there, or standing there, or doing whatever he's doing down there.
Well, you talked about him being relaxed before the game. He certainly won't be relaxed now, but he wouldn't swap places with Billy Bonds.
That's great play from Dixon. It really is. You want to relieve the pressure, you want to get some free kicks, you want the ball in the last third. And he made it his, and he forced Alvin Martin into conceding a free kick. And that gives his defence time to get themselves together for the last couple of minutes.
To use a bit of football jargon, Dixon has been at it tonight. And why not, with Chelsea awaiting in the semi-finals. Bishop. But here comes Butler. Telfer gets back. Butler able to squeeze it wide. Martin Allen slipped. Breaker tried to take it on. And now complains to the referee. The best that West Ham can do now to try and pinch it in Luton's last third from the throw. In from Potts. Chapman. Dreyer is there. Telfer trying to get it further up the touchline.
Well, Kenny Dixon wants to get back in there, Martin. I mean, he's let Alvin Martin drift upfield. He sees him now, and he's trying to get back.
Jones, charged down. Bishop, oh, pushed out. Jones is there, Summer is there.
Well, he's earned his money by that one piece of action, the goalkeeper tonight. He must have seen it very late. David Pleat's off. He can't stand it.
He can't stand up.
But what a save, Martin, at a time like this. Look at all the bodies in front of him as it breaks down there. It comes through the legs, it comes through everything. He makes a stop, but he's quick enough as well to get the rebound.
Here's Oakes. But he's hit the net again, but on the outside. 90 minutes are up at Kenilworth Road.
Well, who cares where this goes as far as Luton are concerned? They just want the ball up that end.
Well, Luton Town are in the semi-finals of the FA Cup. A superb individual performance from Scott Oakes at the heart of a splendid team showing here. And it's not the end for the Ensley League, whose clubs have so often performed above expectations this season. Billy Bonds and West Ham are beaten here, despite scoring first through Martin Allen. A goal which Oakes quickly wiped out, and then he put them 2-1 in front in the second half. Ian Bishop came up with an equalizer, and then a mistake by Steve Potts, and Oakes galloped away from the halfway line to strike the dagger into West Ham's heart, a mortal wound to their FA Cup run. Last week, they wasted their home advantage, but David Pleat's players have completed the job here at Kenilworth Road. Luton again playing to full potential against Premiership opposition. And now they will confront Chelsea at Wembley Stadium on Saturday, April the 9th. If you can't get there, you'll see it live here on Sky. The hammers have been nailed tonight. It's hats off to the Hatters. David Pleat, who prides himself on developing young, talented players, he can't go out and buy the finished articles. He has to work here. And in a way, Scott Oakes has summed up the manager's method. And the champagne, Kerry Hughes gives you a thumbnail sketch of what it all means. Some of the older pros wearied from the efforts, but David Priest has been important again. He's there leading the cheering in the dressing room. And David Pleat, who this time I think is quite happy for our cameras to stay. He was a bit coy earlier in the run, but now they have moments to savour here that last a lifetime.
That's how you get them back down to earth.
Get down to earth. We play Barnsley on Saturday. Ensley League points are still important. Yeah. David Pleat said to me a couple of weeks ago he had a dream of leading a team out at Wembley again. That was before he knew that a semi-final would make that possible. He's going to take a team to Wembley. I don't think the managers do lead them out for the semi-final. Rightly, that's safe for the final.
Be right, he's just turning around with come.
Wonderful stuff. And you can see David Pleat's corset, which has done a job for him tonight. He hasn't moved easily all evening. He is doing so now. Luton Town are in the semi-finals of the FA Cup.
The second goal was the breather we needed. They then thought they could take the game, and we had the space. Right, okay, Nick, we're finished now. We want 2 minutes privacy. Okay, chaps, on 2 minutes privacy. Okay.
2 minutes of privacy then. I think we can afford them that. One of those nights when it was, well, desperately disappointing that anybody should lose, really. Such was the contribution of both sides, but West Ham are out, and Luton Town it is who take a place in the semi-finals against Chelsea. Still to come tonight, reaction, and we've got the goals from Highbury last night and the latest Cantona controversy as well. Don't go away. Welcome back. It'll be a while before they want to leave the stadium tonight. And they know they're going to Wembley now for a semi-final against Chelsea. A game that we'll see live here on Sky Sports. But it's a disappointing night for some people. Plenty to think about. But there'll be some drunk in and around the Luton area tonight. Maybe in Legends, Mick Harford's bar. Let's go and hear from David Pleat.
Well, David, congratulations. I should think that's the best cure for a back injury, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I thought the team played very well. It was so unfortunate when they went the goal down early on. I thought we started more aggressive. I thought we passed the ball well. And then we lost the goal, but fortunately no one wilted. We came back. I thought at half-time I thought we deserved to be in front, but you don't always get what you deserve. We stuck at it. Good second goal, good team play. I just feel that we've deserved to be in the semi-final draw, and I think West Ham played spiritedly in both games, but I really do believe that we're on a run, we've got something going for us, and I'm absolutely delighted for the players.
What was the key? Self-belief, do you think?
Well, they do believe in themselves. We've got something going for us. They believe in themselves, but they're an honest group, and they've applied themselves. And when we've asked them to do certain things, they've done their best to do it. And I can't ask for anything more of a group of players. I think several of these players will do very well in the game of football.
What's this going to do for your team, do you think, going to Wembley for a semi-final?
I think it's a massive problem for us, because the other teams in the Ensley League are going to be delighted because they think we're going to have our minds distracted and lose league matches. The second thing is we must try and enjoy things, because in this life, in football, success is fleeting, and glory is very hard to find. We're all seeking it. We all enjoy it. But I'm just pleased that some of the faith we've had in some of the players, you know, is coming true. This young man, he had a torrid time for a brief spell here because he was playing in a position probably that didn't suit him, but he's coming through it magnificently. He's won the respect of everyone, and I thought he was at times frighteningly good tonight.
Well, Scott, you just heard the tributes from your manager. Congratulations on your hat-trick. Which goal gave you the most pleasure, by the way?
All three of them, actually. No, well, that's my first hat-trick ever. I'm just going to make the most of it now.
Terrific match. Were you conscious that if you could get a goal to haul Luton back in, that you could change the course of the game?
Yeah, obviously we thought that. When we're playing at home, you know, we get a goal, we defend well at home. Trevor Peaky, John Joe are playing well at the moment, so we thought if we could get a goal, we'd be comfortable, but they came back strongly, and fair play to them.
Well, you scored your second at the perfect time as well, didn't you, just after half-time? But here comes the third goal.
I think Potts has had a good couple of games. He's just made a mistake there. I just capitalised on it. I can see someone coming towards my left, but I think the goalkeeper's come out a bit too far to his left-hand side, and I've looked up and I've seen
Good look up that, Scott. Absolutely.
I've seen the gap. I know where he is, and it's just a matter of side-footing into the side of the net.
Alvin Martin.
Thanks for that.
You managed to grab hold of the match ball afterwards in all their scenes afterwards?
That's my first ever, so I'm just going to enjoy it. I'd like to thank Kerry Dixon for the 2 goals he said. It's been tremendous for me playing up front with him, and I'm enjoying it at the moment.
And a word about the semi-final against Chelsea at Wembley?
Just looking forward, especially all those youngsters, we're looking forward to it. I don't know about the older group, but I guess another nugget, but we're just going to enjoy it all.
All right, well, Scott, many congratulations. Well done.
Thank you very much.
David, thank you.
He's a nice young man too, isn't he? So where's it going then? Manchester United, Chelsea, Oldham, or Luton Town? I think Mick Harford's got a feeling about Luton, haven't you, Mick?
Yeah, tremendous for them. They showed a lot of spirit when they went 1-0 down. They showed a lot of courage to come back, and it showed that they're a very good team as well. I thought they played exceptionally well to weather the storm that West Ham threw at them in the second half, and I just really hope they're going to beat Chelsea.
You sat here very calmly, hardly any emotion from you all night. Were you as comfortable inside?
No, I've got a lot of friends in that dressing room, you know, very close friends, and I mean, I was feeling for them. I really want them to go on to Wembley. They deserve it. The likes of Trevor Pigg, David Priest, you know, the elder statesmen of the team, they deserve the throw of the dice at Wembley in the cup final, and I'm praying to get there.
Well, let's start looking back on the goals scored tonight. It was West Ham United that went in front. Martin Allen, the goal scorer. We felt there may have been a suspicion about offside, but there wasn't, Clive. And
no, I think really, you know, as the stats show, it was our first shot at goal. First time we really worked the ball. We got it into Trevor and set back. Butts had a quick look up, seen Martin coming in from the right. And as we saw, he was onside. Good first touch and a nice finish. And really, that was against a run of play, so we were obviously delighted to be in that position.
Here's the confirmation that he was onside. It's Des Linton, I think, on the far right, isn't it?
The right back over the other side of the penalty box there. Martin stepped out of the box, and as the ball's played, he's obviously onside.
Good decision from the officials.
Yeah, they were spot on, really. I felt with every decision this evening. You've got to give them full credit. There's a few offside decisions which they got right. And even when Timmy's brought Oakes down late on in the game, I felt common sense prevailed, and obviously it was a foul, but you know, he got what really was right at booking.
So here's the first of Scott Oakes' 3. It was 1-1 at half-time, and Luton needed to get back into this, Mick, didn't they?
They did, and it was an exceptional goal, I thought. When defenders put their arms up, they tend to stand still instead of running back, and Tim's done that. The arm's gone up, and he hasn't reacted. Great little ball from Kerry. And I mean, his finishing's been fantastic tonight, Scott Oakes. All credit to him. But as I say, the defenders, you know, the arms go up and they stand still. Instead of getting back, the keeper might save it and might drop there.
Again, it was the right decision, as the
lucky break there.
Angle here will confirm.
Great
onside.
Great ball from Kerry.
No question, was there?
No doubt about it.
No doubt about it, no.
Did it nearly get away from him? He was stretching here, wasn't he?
But he's not bothered now. He doesn't care now.
And Oaks scored again just after half-time. 2-1, Luton led. Disappointing goal from West Ham's point of view, Clive?
Yeah, I think, you know, Kerry's knocked the ball down. He's done well. Long balls come in from very deep, and, you know, Kerry's in our 18-yard box, which I think the lads, you know, when they see it, will be disappointed. He's got a great little knock down there, and it's a sweet strike. Left foot, popped up, but he knocks it through the crowd of players and into the box.
Well, if the first equaliser was against the run of play, I think it's fair to say Mick, the second was as well, wasn't it?
Well, I don't know. I think West Ham were getting back into the game, and after this goal, they definitely did. It was a tremendous ball from this to Bishop. I think Jurgen lowered his hands up mistake. He made a horrific mistake there, and he's trying to palm it out with his left hand. From that angle, Bishop should never ever have scored there. I mean, he should have smothered that one. But that's the cup. That's the luck of the run. West Ham got a lucky break, and they did get back into the game. After that, they took control of the game for the next 20 minutes.
It was anybody's game as well after that, but Scott Oaks again popped up with his third of the night, as we've heard. His first hat-trick in senior football, and what a night to score it as well.
Unfortunately, you know, the Potts has played exceptionally well the last 2 games, but that's ticked the load, so no one will catch him there. He's steadied himself. The ball's bobbling awfully there. I mean, he's took his time there, and he's stuck it in tremendously well. Keeper's got no chance. I mean, he could have did it early or later. If he did it a bit later, Alvin may have got a challenge in, but he's timed it to perfection. And he deserves that match ball, and he deserves all the accolades he's going to get tonight.
Here comes the look, and now he knows, Clive.
Yeah, he knows. He's taking his time. He's composed. As it pops up, it's a sweet strike. You know, he's had 3 great strikes tonight. All credit to him, and I'm sure that David Pleat knows he's going to have a job holding on to him, I think.
Yes. That's put another 100,000 on the prize at least, hasn't it?
If not more.
I think both of you felt that West Ham should have had a penalty when Trevor Morley was bundled over in the box. So let's have another look and see if this changes your mind.
Yeah, Alvin's up on the left wing there, and it's not back to Bugsy, who's whipped it in. Trevor's made a good first touch, took him into the space, and I just think that the defender there has wrapped his legs around Trevor. He hasn't actually played the ball. Maybe with a number of players that are involved as a melee, and the referee can't really see exactly what's happened. I think it was a bit unfortunate not to get a penalty.
I think it was a penalty. Kerry Dixon's played him, and I think that's why John Dreyer is a yard the other side of Morley. So his control was first class, and he looks like a certain goal. And John's done something desperate, and he's got away with it. He's lucky to get away with that.
Oaks got away again at 3-2. Tim Breaker was booked. Should he have been sent off?
No, I don't think he should be sent off. As I said earlier, I think common sense prevailed here. Timmy's had to make the challenge. He has taken the ball sort of to the right and maybe away from goal. Potts is round on the cover there, and you know, I think the booking was the right decision.
And 3-2 it finished to Luton Town. So let's confirm the semi-final draw. Here it comes. On Saturday, April the 9th, exclusively live on Sky Sports from Wembley Stadium, Chelsea against Luton Town. And on the Sunday, it's Oldham Athletic against Manchester United, again from Wembley. And the latest cup odds after Luton's win tonight, they were 14-1, remember, Luton Town. United odds on, Chelsea 7-2. Luton now in from 14 to 7-1, third favourites. Oldham Athletic are 9-1. Will you take that, Mick?
I fancy Manchester United to do the treble. No disrespect to anyone at Chelsea, the players, the manager. I just hope Luton get to the cup final.
Well, we can allow you those sentiments. No reason why not. Who do you fancy?
Well, I've got to go with Manchester United, but I certainly hope for David Pleat and his team that they perform as well as they have tonight, and I'm sure they're going to give Chelsea a run for their money.
OK, well, let's have a look at the latest Premiership action involving Manchester United. That was at Highbury last night. Game finished 2-2, and what a stormer as well. Lee Sharp playing his first league game of 1994, and he scored 2 goals. Here comes the first, Clive. Not a bad piece of poaching, was it?
Great piece of poaching. I think, you know, Mr. Reliable there, David Seaman's dropped what he will be, you know, a disaster for him, but Sharp was there.
Here's a strange one. Free kick awarded over on the far side there. Not for the, well, might have been handball, but outside the box for some strange reason. You can see how upset Steve Bruce is about it. Merson's the taker. It initially went down as an own goal to Gary Pallister, but I think a second angle confirms that if there was a touch, it was the faintest, and Paul Merson might have a case for claiming that. Here it comes again. What do you think, Mick?
I think he'll claim that one, yeah. Doesn't Pallister won't want that one against him, so Merson will claim it, and why
so
not?
That was 1-1 into the second half now, and this is when things really got going.
I think once again the arms will go up there and everyone stands still, and as soon as the arms go up, you can't move, and he just sticks it in the back of the net.
Lee Sharp again, so 2-1 to Manchester United. Familiar celebrations. Here comes Arsenal's second equaliser. Paul Merson's in. How about this for a strike, Clive?
Oof. Oh, that's a tremendous goal. I think, again, the ball's bouncing in front of him. He showed composure to wait for it to come down. And obviously a superb finish.
It finished explosively as well. Eric Cantona going off for the second time in 2 matches. He was booked for that one. Now, any complaints from either of you about the referee's decision there? Is that a booking, Mick?
Difficult to say. I think he's made a meal of it. Cantona, I think, has gone in with intent. But, I mean, I think he deserved that booking, yeah.
This could have won it for Arsenal. Referee decided there was a push there. Ian Wright's goal was disallowed.
I think it's the goalkeeper's union now again. The goalkeeper was getting looked after. It looked the goal to me. Smith was doing nothing.
Now watch closely. Challenge from Cantona. Second challenge, or was it? No complaints from Tony Adams. I think he's unlucky there.
The reaction of the other players. You see the reaction of Adams and the likes. I mean, they know it's not a bookable offence, and he still should be on the pitch. He's getting, I think he's getting victimised, Cantona.
That probably was, well, certainly worse than that, wasn't it? But there was no.
I think Eric's jumped. He's not really gone for the ball or committed a foul. He's very unfortunate. But as you saw, Tony Adams got up and walked away. I don't think he even felt it was a free kick or a foul.
And he'll miss 5 matches as a result. Other results tonight. Friendly internationals, Northern Ireland 2. Great start for Brian Hamilton. Romania 0, Republic 0, Russia 0 from earlier in the day. Scotland 0, Holland 1. Brian Roy the goal scorer. In the Premiership, Newcastle United 2, Ipswich Town 0. And a defeat for the leaders in Division 1. Crystal Palace 0, Middlesbrough 1. Craig Hignett the goal scorer. Thanks, Mick Harford.
It's a pleasure. I've
enjoyed your company. Thank you as well, Clive Allen. Thank you. And a couple of dates that it's worth making a note of. Friday at 2, the 3rd test starts. West Indies against England. Live and exclusive, the whole tour on Sky Sports. That's day 1, Friday at 2 in the afternoon. Schoolboy Football International at 10:30 a.m. on Saturday. That's the latest in the Victory Shield matches. Northern Ireland against Scotland from Ballymena. Saturday at 9:30 in the evening, David Livingston and the team, USPGA Golf, the Players' Championship. Day 3 from Florida. Monday night, we're off to Bramall Lane. It's a big one for Sheffield United and for West Ham now. It'll be interesting to see how they react to this defeat. Tonight, 7 o'clock start on the Monday Night Football as usual. Sheffield United against West Ham United. Wednesday, April the 20th at 6, Germany, the world champions, against Terry Venables, England, from the Olympic Stadium, Berlin, exclusively live on Sky. Wednesday, April the 20th at 6 o'clock. And another one it's probably worth mentioning, on April the 2nd, Blackburn Rovers play Manchester United, and that is live, exclusively live here on Sky Sports as well. Well, what a night. As we said a little earlier, it's disappointing on evenings like this that anybody should have to lose. Such was the contribution of both sides, but it's West Ham United that go out. It's Luton Town that go on to the semi-finals of the FA Cup, where they'll play Chelsea. Thanks in the main to Scott Oakes. It's been a fabulous night at Kenilworth Road. Hope you enjoyed it. Goodbye from all of us.
Sky Sports coverage of the FA Cup is sponsored by Carlsberg.